Well, hello there. Welcome back to another RSG Lunch Stream. I'm Ranger J 1999, and welcome to the Lunch Stream. If you're not familiar with the Lunch Stream, this is where we just got to kick back, hang back, answer your questions about Star Wars Galaxy Heroes or whatever gets on your mind, Star Wars related. Battlefront, the new Solo trailer, whatever tickles your pickle, whatever makes you happy. And joining us as always is the crew that you've come to know and love. Going around the corn here, as old Grande Friendship Patron would say, we've got Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman. Dr. Finn, how goes your day?
Yeah,
you have a busy day going on.
Yeah,
me too. I have a buttload of homework still to finish, so that's great. It'll be great. Also joining us is the mechanic himself, Grim.
How's it going?
That's right. Also, we've got from his own YouTube channel and has been a part of the lunch stream forever and a day, Xylo Takedown.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on? And of course, the apprentice to the troll extraordinaire, Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman. Sanely Red's here to scoop up all your questions and get those answered for us.
Hey, looks like we're talking about WrestleMania.
Well, we were yesterday. If you didn't see it, Finn was like, "You gonna stream tonight?" I was like, "Well, maybe I can." You know, I'm thinking about it. Maybe do a little Battlefront. He's like, "We should do WrestleMania and Battlefront." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about, Finn?" And so yesterday we did a Battlefront 2 stream where me, V, and True were playing Battlefront 2, and Finn kept us locked in on all the WrestleMania matches. So if you want to know the results and everything and hear Finn's commentary on it, check out the video from yesterday. So yes, indeed. Glad to see everybody's in chat. Welcome. If you have questions, go ahead and get those in there. That's what we're here for, and we will go ahead and answer those questions. We have a roster review.
Wrong. That's wrong. We will not answer all the questions. If I have to answer another damn question about chickens, I will not answer it.
Grande, so you're saying there's no more questions about chickens?
That is correct.
Well, you just answered a question about a chicken.
you just answered a question about a chicken.
Oh! I only answer questions about turkey and geese now.
Oh, have you found a new turkey or geese hanging around your office?
No, I have not. I'm sorry, I interrupted your spiel.
No, it's okay, Grande. I mean, you do whatever you like.
This whole conversation is a massive fail.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Grande.
Thanks.
Grande says he won't answer a question about a chicken, and then answers a question about a chicken, and then said he's going to talk about geese and turkeys, and this whole conversation is off the rails. Where's Tiff when she needs to
Tiff's
stop us
get in
in
here and
play?
slap Grande. Seriously.
But only slap me in my bathing suit parts.
Okay.
Okay.
So that was said. All right. So if you have questions, go ahead and get them in there. Satan will scoop them up. We've got a roster review. Grande, we've got an interesting, got a kind of an interesting roster review today.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yeah. There's this Kraken, and we're not quite sure why, but they want help. Finn, what is the person that doing the roster?
We know why.
I just want
So,
you to tell us why. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so his name is Spider. He's part of, I believe the guild name is Ewok and Dead. And he wanted a roster review, not for Arena, because he's doing fine in Arena. He's a 3.4, almost 3.5 million GP roster. But what he's looking for is squads for the Sith Raid and how to mod those characters. So he's looking for Sith Raid help, which is what a lot of people are looking for right now.
So I got to tell. So yeah, we'll go into that. We can go into it now. We can go into it later. When do you want to start this?
Well, I mean,
you want to start with the roster now?
No, I'm doing the damn Night Sister event. It'll wait.
Oh, okay. Well, stick that sucker on auto and push the auto button, and you're done.
I don't trust it. Something always bad happens. All right, I'll do that on auto and see what happens. If I lose, Grande.
All right. In the meantime, Stanley, let's do some questions until we get to the roster review.
I'm ready for the rush review whenever, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. We'll bring it up on the screen and everything too. And by the way, Ranger, you can get rid of the WrestleMania results overlay image off.
Is
I
it
think that's
on
why
there?
Stanley was mentioning the WrestleMania thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's still there.
WrestleMania.
Oh, that's why. Okay, let's get rid of that
I'm
crap.
going to tell you, the best WrestleMania I ever saw was Ayla Secura versus Zam Wessel. I paid good money.
All right, let's go to questions.
Yeah.
Let's go to questions, please. Oh, God, please go to questions.
Paul Morgan, question: what is everyone's favorite vintage console and game between regular Nintendo NES to PlayStation 1?
PlayStation, I loved Final Fantasy VII and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Those were my two favorite.
Dude, if we're going to go vintage, I have to go vintage. I'm going to take a Bally machine, and the game is Space Invaders.
Oh, snap.
I used to have a Space Invaders arcade machine.
Yeah. Well, so
But
they had a Bally. So Bally was like the competitor to Atari, and they had kind of a Pac-Man game that was with little space guys instead of Pac-Man.
Mm-hmm.
It was the bomb diggity. I can remember playing it on a tube television that was 13 inches in my bedroom, and my mom and I got so excited because you could play as a team. So my mom played on one controller and I played on another controller, and we got up to such a high level that the game actually froze and stopped working. And we were like, no, like we were so upset about it. We were on like screen like 220 or something. I mean, it was awesome.
Very nice.
I'd have to go.
but
I'd have to go Super Nintendo, Super Mario World.
Oh yeah. Another one. That's another good one.
Mine is Super Nintendo also, but Super Mario RPG.
Oh.
man, it's actually
By far my
kind of
favorite game ever.
a tough question because I played a ton of games on consoles. I'm looking at like several consoles on my stuff here.
I remember playing the original Star Wars game on Atari 5200. When it had all the ships and you had the little mouse and you were like the X-wing with the 4 little guns pointing out and you with the mouse thing around and shot them, and then you did the
Star Wars arcade,
and then you did the trench run.
That was so awesome, dude. They had other games too, like Barnstormer. You remember the Barnstormer game where like you were like the Red Baron and you like flew your little bi-wing like through the barns? Frogger. I mean, they had so many good games. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say mine was on the old Atari 2600, The Last Starfighter.
Oh, The Last Starfighter.
That was a good one too.
But there's so many good ones like N64 and GoldenEye. Many hours
Oh
of
God.
Then there's like the Neo Geo, which had Metal Slug.
If you want to see a really good movie about Atari and old school throwback games, go watch Ready Player One.
Oh.
The new one that just came out, it has a bunch of little things like that in it.
I'm sorry.
What was the name of the movie with Adam Sandler where they were getting invaded by 8-bit stuff? Pixels? Was that the name of it?
Pixels, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's called Pixels. Anyway, that's a funny movie. I actually liked Ready Player One better.
I haven't seen that one yet. I want to though.
It's cool. It's a good flick. A little bit long, but it's a good flick. Next question.
Mm-hmm. Do another question, then we can do the roster review.
Ice Bank myself. Question: I recently replayed Star Wars Force Unleashed 1 and 2 with the new mode on PlayStation 4. I put Starkiller in my Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes survey for a new character. How would you like Starkiller to be added? I'd like that to be added. That'd be awesome.
I think that'd be great.
Starkiller in this game.
I'll say yes for Lady Ondane.
Why are you going to say? Save it for Lady Ondane.
Lady Ondane loves herself some Starkiller, so I'm going to say yes for her.
Okay.
I think it would be awesome.
Care.
We got a donation from Vigilant Sentinel. If Jango Fett arrives, do you think Mace rework?
Why
Nope.
would Jango Fett mean a Mace rework? I'm trying to understand the
Because
significance.
Mace killed him.
Yeah, but
He wouldn't be
Mace also came very close to killing Palpatine, but there's no way that's ever happening in the game, so no.
Yeah.
No matter what happened in the Star Wars lore, things don't happen that way in the game.
That's
so,
right.
No.
That's science.
Otherwise, Samuel L. Jackson would be beating the crap out of like everyone in the game, but nope. He sits on your roster doing nothing.
That's true.
Twice every 20 days, you get to use the endurance in TW. Oh man.
All right, let's do this roster review.
Okay, the ye old roster review. So
we are doing Spidey's roster review.
Spidey or Spider. He's got two different names. I think he's actually running under Spider at the moment.
Okay.
Which is cool. Ewalking Dead is the guild. Big shout out to Ewalking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a pretty established player, doing great in Arena, running a Palpatine team with Vader and Scion and Nihilus and Thrawn, which is cool. Used to run him some Night Sisters at one point, so that's cool. And you want to run through the list of questions that he had? Finity, what were some of his comments?
His question was just one, so he's looking to focus on the Sith raid. So he wants to know what teams he should focus on and how he should mod them.
Okay, so let's look at a couple of things on this team. This is in the Sith raid. A lot of the people we fight in the Sith raid can actually hit under protection, or can do extra damage. So the Sith raid is one of the few times whenever we would start wanting to look at healers, and we want to look at potentially health mods over protection mods sometimes. Speed is important, so is offense though, so are a couple other things. So we want to make sure we do that, right? So the first couple of things is what we want to run in P. We need to probably establish 4 or 5 or 6 teams that we want to say are good for the Sith raid. First one being for P1 is a JTR team. JTR team is going to be consistent of JTR, BB-8, probably Rey, probably if we look
R2.
At it can be R2, but it doesn't have to be R2. Believe it or not, sometimes R2 can be better on a different team. But if we potentially regular Rey, potentially and then potentially a healer, right? So if we start
Hermit Yoda.
He's got Hermit Yoda at 7 stars.
Hermit Yoda's a great choice. Barriss is a great choice. I mean, if we look at his resistance team, he's got Rey, he's got BB-8, and he's got Resistance Trooper. Now, that team gets TM, right? So here's an interesting thing. It's super easy to kind of mess stuff up. Let me tell you what I mean by that. A lot of people think that some of these characters get their exposes based on under a JCR based on potency, but it's actually based on crit. And so a lot of times you need to end up modding these characters for crit chance or for crit damage, and not for potency. A good example of this is when I look at his Resistance Trooper. Let's look at how he gets exposed on his flush out, right? And if we jump into, so let's jump in and read the abilities, right? So, deal physical damage to the target enemy with a 65% chance to expose them for 2 turns. Excuse me, for 3 turns. And then the biggest reason why we use Resistance Trooper on there is for the Opportune Strike, which is whenever Nihilus gets all those buffs, you can actually dispel all those buffs from him. And he also gains a bunch of turn meter from his expose, which is, so you do want him loaded up with potency, but if we come back over here to like Rey's leader ability gives you an expose on crit. You come back in here and you look at her leader abilities. Open it up. The leader ability, which is inspirational, persistence, inspirational presence. So this is resistance allies have plus 30% critical chance and plus 30% critical damage. When they score a critical hit, they have a 75% chance to expose. What this means is that this doesn't matter about potency anymore. All this matters about is crit, which means we want to turn BB-8 into a crit machine. We want to turn Ray into a crit machine, and we want to turn Resistance Trooper into a crit machine. If they're a crit machine, they'll expose more. If they expose more, they're going to gain turn meter. Resistance allies gain 10% turn meter whenever they expose. So that's how you make that team work, is by modding for crit chance, modding for crit damage, and modding. The only character for potency that needs to be modded that way is Resistance Trooper. So a lot of it is about getting the correct mods on the character to make it work. And then after you've done that, then it just becomes a train that goes on. What's nice about characters like Hermit Yoda is Hermit Yoda lets your characters go an additional time. And if everybody else dies but Hermit Yoda, then you get to use Hermit Yoda again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the science.
Okay.
So we got the JTR team locked down. What's the other teams we want to look at?
So then the next team that you probably want to look at would be like Thrawn with troopers, potentially.
And who are the 4 super pooper troopers we should be using?
So I think we have to work backwards as far as like whether or not you're going to use the big Chex Mix team for P3, and who you're going to use on your big Chex team. If you're going to end up using Resistance Trooper, if you're going to end up using Death Trooper on that team, then it changes your regular Imperial troopers. So one of the things to remember is that
real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick, I like Krennic in there.
Krennic would be fine on that team, absolutely. Krennic actually hits hard. Krennic lands a bunch of debuffed, which is super nice, right? In a perfect world, we'd probably have Magna Trooper on that team, but a lot of people don't have a really super geared up Magna Trooper. So you'd have Thrawn as the leader, Veer, Stark.
Loki, do you have Magma Trooper?
Loki's in here already or no?
He's here.
Oh, he may be muted.
He went all quiet. He doesn't want to talk about his Magma Trooper with us.
He doesn't want to talk about how he has all the characters unlocked and 20,000 crystals every month.
So that's another team that you could look at, right? But it kind of depends on what you're going to put on that other team. P3, we want to talk about. We want to talk about the kind of Chex Mix team, which is going to be like CLS, OG Han, Death Trooper, Chirrut, Ezra, Leia. You can think of a bunch of different other characters that go with that. Doesn't always work every time either.
You have to get the RNG.
You have to get the RNG.
The standalone team works really well, where it's like it's CLS lead with OG Han and a couple other attackers, and then you just use standalone on OG Han, and he with what was it? You use Death Trooper on there, so you kill one of her sabers, put Death Mark on Traya, and then you stand alone on OG Han, and every time the sabers attack OG Han, he blows the crap out of Traya. It does a lot of damage. It could easily do about 2 mil.
Yeah.
And that's like with low gear tunes.
But you gotta but you've modded OG Han for crit chance and for crit damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you've modded him.
Potentially, though, with the Chex Mix team, you can use 25 Death Troopers in Phase 3 and then still have, the other 25 to use in Phase 1 for those teams that don't have JTR.
So let's go back and let's look at his OG Han and see how he has OG Han modded. Oops. I'm on the wrong screen. Let's go back and let's look at his his OG Han, and let's see how he's got him modded.
Crit
My
chance,
internet.
crit. It's got crit chance, crit damage mods.
So, yeah, but see, here's the problem: is look at his triangle. It's a defense triangle.
Yeah.
And and I mean, we've got great speed, but we probably need to look at a different triangle for him.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of offense on this team, but we don't have any crit chance secondaries on this team. We have one. So he probably needs to look at a different triangle. Like a crit damage triangle. Even if it didn't have 12 speed.
A little bit less speed, but yeah.
Because while speed matters, speed's not the only thing. This is the conversation we were having before about whenever people overly hype secondary speed and they've lost focus on the primary. He could probably be doing double damage with a crit damage triangle. Even if it didn't have the 12 or 13 speed that he's got on it, maybe it was down to
7 or 8, yeah.
7 or 8 or 6 or 5 or 3 or none, right? I mean, you can make up for it in other areas. P4 is probably going to be Night Sisters, I'm going to say. Probably be an easy team for that area. There are some other teams that would work well. And
yeah, that's just basically throw the kitchen sink at it.
But this would be like, but what would help is the particular Zetas sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you'd like to have Mother's unique Zeta.
Mother.
I mean, there are some other teams for P, for P2 that we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about some of like the Leia spam teams that run like a Newt lead or an Akbar lead with GK. I mean, there are some other teams we haven't talked about, like that you can even run in P2 that, I mean, these are like 1% kind of teams, right? We haven't even talked about Phoenix, that potentially you can run Phoenix in P2, but it has to have a lot of, you have to have a large majority of the Zetas.
Yeah.
There's also that new team McMull put out yesterday with the clones. If you have Zeta 5s, then it just keeps spamming 5s basic.
So that's potentially going to get nerfed, and I would probably never recommend that someone Zeta 5s. I mean, it seems like a poor choice when there's all these other Zetas.
Oh yeah, for sure. I totally
on
agree.
the board. I mean, if you accidentally in a drunken stupor on a night stream Zeted 5s, then yeah, have at it. But if you didn't, I'd probably tell you it's a bad choice.
Well, I'd also try to steer people away from using Newt anyways, because he's the only character in the game that has been nerfed, like 8 times?
At least 3.
6.
At least 3 times he's been nerfed. At least.
Every time somebody finds something good to use them in, they're like, "Oh, nope." What did you say?
So P4 is also where you could run a first order team.
Yep.
And a first order team would work great in P4. This would be and how are you going to mod? How are you going to mod them? You're going to mod them for speed and for health. Because they're going to get advantage, which advantage should mean that they crit relatively often.
Yep.
This is typically not a team that you need to mod for crit. Typically a team you need to mod for health and offense with a little bit of speed. The team you're mostly looking at would be like Double Zeta Kylo Ren, first order Stormtrooper, first order officer, and then if you have him, first order executioner, and then first order special forces TIE fighter pilot. But you could also swap in regular Kylo Ren, and you could also swap in regular TIE fighter pilot if you didn't have those other 2. When I say you don't have them, I mean like probably 7-star gear 10 before you put them in.
Yeah, his Executioner is only 4-star, gear 7. I'd recommend at least gearing him up to gear 11, so when it becomes farmable, or to farm him up, because he is key to the First Order getting massive damage. Eventually he will be doing 100k on his basic.
I'll tell you that even with JTR and P1, it takes a lot of it takes the right RNG to go from 1 million to like 4 million. It's not like automatic. You have to start realizing how you're going to time your defense things and how you're going to time your heals. Some of that stuff becomes super important. You also need to look at the cooldowns and understand how Nihilus is going to work. And how, like, if Nihilus has the cooldown to add the ads and Nihilus has the cooldown to annihilate, he's actually going to add the ads back before he annihilates. You kind of got to realize that you can see the boss's cooldown.
It's a good point. All right,
is there anything else we should add? I feel like there's stuff we're forgetting. That if Loki
I think that's a good point of start. You can't cover everything, good lord. But I mean, he just wanted some teams and ideas for what he needs to do for different phases for the Sith raid, and he's got the capability of doing all that. We didn't even mention where you can use Hermit Yoda in all those teams and have him escape every time and use him again.
Yeah, Hermit Yoda.
Don't forget
Wampa. Hermit Yoda and Wampa have become really big assets in the Sith raid. The same thing with Traya.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't really talk very much about Traya because there's not a lot of people that don't have her at 7-star. Traya revives. I mean, Traya does all kinds of awesome stuff. Traya will be a huge critical point of the Sith raid and helping us all kind of beat that.
Are you talking Traya or Visas?
Visas Mar, I'm sorry. See? I knew if I said the name wrong 12 times in a row. Loki,
if you say it, Loki will come.
Loki chime in. Visas Mar,
Yeah,
you are correct.
I was busy
Visas Mar.
trying to process. I was like, why would we need Trey?
No. Visas Mar is right. Visas Mar, not Trey. Visas Mar is really great, either on the JTR team. There's probably not a team that you couldn't throw Visas Mar in.
Look, everybody, it's a Sir Loki sighting. Sir Loki, how's it going, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm still like sickly, but I'm good.
That
I'm at
sucks.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Just feel weak. I think I had the flu or something over the week, man. It was pretty bad last week, but I'm good. I'm all right.
For me, know that squid and soup. You overdid it.
Nah, man, I haven't been eating it. I think that's the problem. That stuff's like medicine, you know.
It's just like medicine.
It's like camel's hump and tiger penis and shit, right?
Okay.
I don't know. Some cultures eat that stuff, man. It's like medicine, you know.
Okay.
Low key. Oh my gosh.
And welcome to the lunch stream.
Someone's been spending too much time in Chinatown.
Yeah, I mean,
Finn said there weren't enough brown guys on the stream, so I had to come on.
It's true. The number of brown people on the stream went down by half when Loki isn't here. So
right.
We need.
Damn.
Or it increases by 100%.
That's right. So it's.
And we like us some brown people.
Yes. You can never have enough brown people. Oh my god. All right. Let's see here. Let's get back to. I think we've covered this in depth enough, right? Anything you want to add about the raid? Look, I don't know if you've been listening. You want to add for this guy for this roster review?
Just in general, like what teams we could use, or
I don't know if you were listening. We kind of covered all the main teams for each phase. There's anything that you want to add, or anything that you've noticed about the raid, or because this guy's a crack and he's got everything that he could possibly want to run. So
3.4 million GP
3.5.
roster.
Yeah, that's great. You know what? Grande touched base a little bit on Visas Mar. I'm starting to play around with her. I think maybe phase 2. I'm gonna start playing around with her. So here's the issue I'm having with Vissa's Mar right now is her assist, her attack speed, or you know, from the time she assists to when the hit actually happens in a JTR team, it could sometimes be sometimes it's not good. And what I mean by that is because, you know, you want to keep the expose on Nihilus as long as you can, because it just helps control his turn meter, and the more exposes you have on Nihilus, then the team gets turn meter, right, if you're using a JTR team. So I was a big fan of Vissa's Mars with JTR in phase 1, but the problem I was noticing was if you're using like Resistance Trooper and you do his special, and then Vissa's Mar does the assist, then her assist sometimes lags behind Resistance Trooper's shot, and then her assist removes the expose that you want on the you know, that you want on Nihilus. So I'm finding, like what Grande said, is the RNG does play a big part. I like it when R2 just goes in with his basic, and then Vissa's Mar does her assist, and then R2's so slow, right? Because he kind of putts up to Nihilus and shocks him. But he can do the expose right there. So that's one mechanic I'm noticing where she might be ideal in another team, and I'm really thinking of running her. She might be good with like the Chex Mix or something with Death Trooper, right? Because if she keeps doing assists, she's gonna capitalize on that death mark extra damage.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I want to, you know, I just want to throw that out there. I've been playing around with it. You know, the Sith raids, unfortunately for us, they just go really fast. So I don't get really to, you know, a lot of time to theory craft with it. But I think she's going to be really good outside of a JTR team with Death Trooper. So that's really all I wanted to add. You know, as she becomes free to play, then a lot of people can start playing with her more. But something like that with like Wampa and Vissa's Mar and Death Trooper would be kind of interesting in phase 2.
Very nice. All right, so that's the roster review for Spidey or Spider. So let's get to some more questions.
Andrew Galvin on CLS, which piece of Gear 12 should I go for first? It's between
Which Gear 12 pieces does he get?
multi-tool, the med pack, and the Armatech Cybernetics.
Multi-tool for me.
Yeah, that's what I'd go with too.
I'd say it would be a toss-up between the multi-tool and the med pack. The med pack, you know, makes them more survivable.
The extra potency really helps out with landing his debuffs.
And the 5% health steal. So between that plus his call to action where he's just recovering everything, like he becomes nasty to kill with that. All right, next question.
Question: is it possible to run a?
Did he cut out?
Yeah, he did. He cut out real bad.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Michael D. Question: is it possible to run a First Order team in Phase 4 of the Sith Raid without First Order Stormtrooper? I'd like to run crew, First Order TIE fighter pilot, Xylo, Fox, and Phasma. I think Phasma provides a mass heal under Zeta crew.
I think I've seen that team actually, and it works. I think I'm trying to remember when they used it though, because I think it was more for after Nihilus was dead and focused on Scion, but I can't remember for sure. But I believe I've seen that team composition, and it worked. I don't know, Ranger. You're much more familiar with the First Order. Would that team work?
Okay, say it one more time because I'm something's not clicking here with me. Say the question one more time for the First Order team.
Crew, First Order TIE fighter pilot, Xylo, Fox, and Phasma. He does not want First Order Stormtrooper in there.
Depends on where you're running it at. I mean, boy, not having Stormtrooper in there, that's a vital cog. And I'm not a big fan of. I mean, if you're just gonna go full offense for something like maybe a Phase of the Raid to test it out, maybe. But First Order Stormtrooper, for what he does, especially when you get a Zeta on him, he is disgusting. Loki, back me up on this. I'm just not seeing it. I mean, I don't know how you run the Phasma without over First Order Stormtrooper. Yeah, you'll speed up your team and do more offense, but I don't know. Look,
the taunt and the taunt and the dispel and the counter.
Yeah, really, I mean, and he throws buffs to other members and defense and.
Yeah, but he's focusing on Phase 4 with the Sith Raid.
I know, but
he's missing two of the main cogs to get the First Order machine rolling. He's missing Officer and Stormtrooper. You need those two to make the crew-led First Order team work correctly.
It's about
that's the problem.
It's about throwing the buffs around. It's about getting advantage. It's about the turn meter. It's about getting them just to do assist after assist. And with all that, with the counter that First Order Stormtrooper offers, and with First Order Officer doing what he does, I mean, I don't like that. I just don't like it. I just don't think it's possible. I mean, if you can find a way to make it work and do some damage, and for Phase 4, I think you're going to get slaughtered without Trooper or First Order Officer. I mean, you'll do some damage initially, but then you're going to just get wrecked because they're going to get wrecked. Even with that team, I mean, the ideal team is to have Executioner in there because he's the one that you really get going and he starts laying Skungan on there. But until he becomes behind the paywall, but I've had it to where my team gets wiped out, but I still got Crew and Kylo Ren just sitting there in Phase 4, constantly just, countering and just knocking the snot out of the raids and the raid bosses and getting really good damage with those guys. So, it just, I don't see it. Loki, do you agree or disagree? Because you're a big First Order guy.
No, I agree with what you're saying. You have to run the double tank. You could run the double tank, so like Crew and First Order Stormtrooper, and then you can run First Order Officer, Phasma, and First Order Executioner. And the reason for that is because Phasma still gives 50% turn meter and buffs, and then you want to have the tunes that just keep buffing each other so they can gain their health and protection back under Crew lead. So I've used Phasma, but I wouldn't say she's a replacement for First Order Stormtrooper at all. You need both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he clarified. He says, can you just use First Order Officer and not First Order Stormtrooper? He has First Order Officer at Gear 10, but First Order Stormtrooper only at Gear 7.
It would work, but the only way it's going to work for him is if he's double Zeta Crew, and it still may not work very well.
No,
because it's not giving you enough It's not giving you enough time to protect everybody.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, my advice is you have to run all the First Order tunes that give buffs to each other, and that's the only way that team is gonna heal itself up again. I mean, First Order Officer can speed up First Order Stormtrooper, so he can give everybody defense up, and then that's pretty much the loop you go with. And then Phasma gives everybody advantage and 50% turn meter. Every time you proc a buff on top of their heads, they regain health and protection. That's the big one.
Yeah. Staying alone. All right. Next question.
Nathaniel Miller. How does one request a roster review? I.e., which channel in Discord should one post?
Finn.
PMfinity.
There you go. Simple as that. And he'll add you to the queue. We've got a pretty... We're knocking it out, though, right, Finn? We're getting there.
Oh, yeah. We're getting through them now much better. It was just stuck for a long time, but we're getting through them now.
Yeah. So get your name to Dr. Finn, and then there you go.
Danilo Papais. Question, are there any active wrestlers who could play a Star Wars character, and who would it be?
I go to Finn on this one.
Active wrestlers that could play Star Wars heroes.
Well, depends on what you mean by hero, too. I could see John Cena playing Agent Callus.
I was just getting ready to say that, too.
Mm-hmm.
He would fit the part really well.
Yes. So I think he could definitely play that. Let's see. Who else potentially?
Macho Man Randy Savage could play Saul Guerrero.
What will you become, my child?
Although, in actuality, Titus O'Neil probably could play Saw Gerrera. You could probably have like Mandy Rose playing Leia, especially with the Jabba the Hutt scene.
This is so silly.
Hey, the question was asked. I will answer.
Next question.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Conor McGregor could play Mace
Conor McGregor is not a wrestler.
He could play Mace Windu because he's really good at throwing stuff through glass windows.
He didn't throw anything through a glass window. Their lightsaber struck the glass.
Different fails in that statement by Grande.
It's awful, Grande. Not even clued in.
There's like so many things wrong with that sentence. We need to just
just stop, Grande.
They're not even the right skin color, man.
I know,
bro. Why are you being racist, man? Come on now. Come on. Dang. You gotta go with the race thing and skin color. I'm over here talking about like attitude
and not even getting the scene right and what happens or who does what.
The fact that they both break glass.
Right? Yeah, they didn't throw anything through it, first of all, Grande, so that's wrong.
Let's just move on. There are many things wrong with what Grande said. We can all agree on that. Next
Vape is a little bit like MMA.
No, it's not. That's again wrong.
Why are we continuing this?
I love to get stuff wrong, and you guys just get so mad about it. It's so awesome.
We're not mad. We're just dumbfounded. No, I think Princess Leia's Kung Fu fighting was off in Return of the Jedi. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm telling you. I'm just using my improvisational skills. Come on now.
Or lack of brain power. One could go that route too. So, oh my God.
All right, next question, Sammy, please.
Artorias Draconite. What's everyone's favorite Star Wars game? Mine's Jedi Outcast. Lightsaber combat at its finest. I'd have to say the original Battlefront 2.
It's a good one. God, there's been so many.
Star Wars Galaxies before Sony messed it up.
Star Wars Galaxies is definitely one of my favorites.
I actually haven't played too many, so I'm with Battlefront 2, the current one.
Yeah, it's a great game. I mean, that's why we stream the hell out of it. It's a fun game. There's been so many.
The one, the episode 3, the Revenge of the Sith game was a fun one.
Yeah, the old PlayStation games. Rogue Squadron was always fun.
I can't remember
Dark
which one it
Forces.
was. I had one on N64
Dark Forces
also.
was good.
I mean, it's really
I had
hard
the
to
64.
choose between them all because there were a lot of really, really good Star Wars video games.
Yeah.
He just said game. He didn't necessarily say video game.
Well, I mean, there's a Star Wars role-playing game that I have fully that you get throw in
Pencil and paper.
There's one called like Star Wars Armada, which is supposed to be super fun. It's like a card game / like space game. Like
It's a miniatures game.
Yeah.
I've played it. It's really, really cool. If I had the money to do it, I'd be playing that sucker.
A lot of people really love that game.
It takes a lot of money to play that game though. But man, the miniatures are so detailed.
Come on, man. You think it costs more than Galaxy of Heroes?
It could.
Yeah.
If you want your armada of 4 Star Destroyers, that's like what, $800? But the models are so detailed; they look amazing.
All right.
Camille Buhalski. Question might sound like a noob. How do I use Thrawn in the Empire squad? I'll unlock him in 3 days, and we'll probably use him in Emperor Palpatine lead, Vader, Thrawn, and GK team in arena. TIE fighter pilot or Tarkin for the squad? Question mark.
Probably Tarkin on offense, but Tarkin won't. But probably TIE fighter pilot would work better on defense. So the way this works is it depends on what you're fighting against, right? So if you're fighting against another Palp lead, you want to be using Fracture all the time. If you're playing against a non-Palp lead, then you could actually end up using the turn meter swap sometimes, and that might work out better. So you just kind of have to play around with it. But Tarkin is the other thing too is read about Tarkin's basic, right? Because the way Tarkin's basic works, it works really great with Vader, and what I mean by that is Tarkin, the first time he hits you with a basic, you get speed up. The second time you get ability block, and the third time you get stunned. And sometimes I've noticed with the AI, if they're running an ability block that they got from like Vader, and then you hit them with Thrawn's basic, you'll actually stun them. So it's like he stuns characters that are ability block. So there are some ways where you can actually turn him into even a better controller than he already is. That's how you run Thrawn.
Yeah, that's how I use him in my EP team. Is I use Vader to put up ability block, and then I just take when Thrawn doesn't have somebody fractured, I just shoot the basic to stun him. It's adds that whole other control to your team. It's so nice.
All right, next
and
question.
on your Dark Nihilus, because you need to be putting Nihilus in for probably Tarkin. I mean, for Tarkin or for First Order TIE Fighter pilot, or regular TIE Fighter pilot, and then potentially you need to be working on probably Sith Trooper or Scion at some point as a replacement for GK on that team.
There you go.
Nathaniel Morgan, why isn't the Vader Pack going away? Will we need him for something important?
The Vader Pack, why is the Vader Pack not going away? Probably because
A lot of people
they kind of just they didn't say it specifically for the Vader Pack itself, but they said it in general. They're trying to introduce more things for new players, so I think the Vader Pack is more designed as a new player pack for people that are coming in. And they're trying to introduce more of those.
And it's a really good pack. Godly, we looked at that sucker. I was like, 80 shards for $19.99. I was like, oh my god!
And they said that the packs are designed for like the newer players, but they didn't want to make it only for players that are newer players, because then the older players feel like they're being left out on things. So they basically show it to everyone. So you get to see some of the starter packs as well, and I think that's why that one is just there without a timer on it.
All right. Next question.
Verga Grande. Question he's in a November 2015 shard. Just started getting to the top. I contacted some shard mates on Discord and they don't want me in the Discord server. Should I spend the crystals just to snipe their payout?
So I think this is a really personal question. And I think it also depends on the people that you're kind of working with.
What's that dude's name?
Verga Grande.
Oh man, that's awful. I apologize.
I'll talk about this. If they're gonna be a dick to you, yes, spend those crystals and snipe them. Make them want to get you in that Discord.
Yeah,
the main thing is start out by being consistently in the top 20, right? Let's kind of, if you've never been in the top before, let's make sure you could stay in the top 20. And then after you've kind of spent some time staying in the top 20,
I'll stay in the top 10.
Stay in the top 10. And then after you've stayed in the top 10 for a while, then let's start, bowling through their little rotations or their little setup.
Well, he wants to get payout too, and I mean, I don't think he should have to wait. So if you've offered say, hey, I'm willing to, I'm willing to be a part of the rotation and blah blah blah, and then they say no, then they're fair game. I'm sorry, you can't have a monopoly on the payout because you don't like it. You have to be willing to give some. Now, I don't know all the facts. I mean, maybe you did something to piss them off. I don't know. So we don't have the whole story. But if the story is just based off you reached out, they said no, then that's on them. It's fair game. If they don't like it, then they have two choices. They can bring you into the fold and you guys can work together. But people that are not willing to work together on something like that, then I'm sorry. But, I don't know if there's more to the story, but if that's just the story right there, then sorry, the snipe their ass. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, you have to be able to work with, sniping without reaching out is awful and you should never do it. But if you reach out and you're trying to work with people so you can say, hey, look, I'll be a part of the rotation. I'm here. I can be in the top 5, but I want to be fair and equitable. And they say, get lost. Then game on.
There is I can tell you from my shard, we have 10 people that were in the rotation from the Eastern time zone. Once Palpatine became the meta, people were showing up out of nowhere trying to push into the top 20. And I can tell you, just because the group that's been there has been hitting the top 20 for a year and a half now. And it's always a little, I want to say upsetting. It's not the right word, but it's close enough. It's upsetting when somebody just comes out of nowhere and starts to get into the top. But it happens. It's because Emperor Palpatine is a very old character. It doesn't require too much, and it's just the game is just kind of stale on the arena front right now. So when we have people requesting, I can just tell you that we basically ask people, they're welcome to join our Discord as long as they're okay with top 20, because our top 10 have been in rotation for the past year and a half. And we just intend to keep it that way. But if you want to be in the top 20, we'll avoid you on our climbs, and we can help you if anybody's bothering you, or if there's anybody that you're having difficulty with, we'll help you along our climbs. So it just stays friendly and you can get top 20. And we've had a couple of people join that have agreed to that. I don't know what would happen if they didn't agree to that, but our Discord is fairly large, to be honest.
But what if they wanted to be top 10, Finn? Your answer is no?
Yeah, then they would be kind of out of luck.
That's bullshit.
Well, Adex
no, it's not.
Because
we've been doing it for a year and a half.
Doesn't matter. Just because a new player finally catches up.
And beat you all.
Yeah. If you wanna try and fight us and waste your crystals, that's fine. We have a Discord of about 50 people.
So wait,
we can play
because
friendly,
you
but
guys
we'll
were there
you
first and been doing it longer, someone comes along that finally has been busting their ass, gets their characters up, right? Wants to be a part of the rotation. Your guys' answer is no.
No, we'll let you on as long as you want to be top 20. If you're okay with top 20, we'll play friendly.
That's ridiculous. So they can't get the top 10 reward. So you guys get to have the monopoly on it.
Monopoly. We've been working at it since the beginning of the game.
Just because someone was behind and finally gets a chance to catch up.
It's more than behind, Ranger. It's a year and a half at this point.
Doesn't matter how long. It could be 5,000 years. Some people are further behind. I mean,
I'm going to tell you right. Now. You got 5 people, or 10 people, or 20 people that have a system down, and you're trying to add a new person to the system, and they think that just because they got 5 characters up, that they automatically deserve to be in rotation. Most of the people that got in that rotation took time to fight with each other, took time to find each other. And you get some Johnny-come-lately that comes in and thinks that they can kind of throw a wrecking ball and they deserve it. They don't understand the interpersonal mechanics between the players. There are some of these players. For example, in my ship's arena, it may have taken me 7 months to get this guy where he is willing to do a rotation. And why did it take me 7 months? It took me 5 or 7 months. Because this guy spent 30 grand in the game, and he feels he deserves rank 1. And now you got some guy who has 0 money in the game and finally got everything farmed up, and he feels like he deserves to be in rotation. How does that guy that spent 30 grand feel? Well, we have to go through the entire conversation. How do you feel? What do you think? And it's going to end up with a compromise. you're going to end up with a compromise that says something like, let's try to get you into the top 20, and why don't we get you to stay there for a week or two? Let's make sure you're consistent. If you're just going to be a flash in the pan and you made it once into the top 20, and now you're going to come in and tell people you demand to be in rotation because your happy ass had the day off on a Thursday.
Oh, that's bullshit, Grande. That's total bullshit. I'm sorry, that's bullshit.
Well, here's the thing, though. Most of the people, they're not demanding to get up there. They're asking to hey, I know you guys have a rotation of what you're doing. I'm getting up to where you guys are. How can I work with you guys? And if they tell me to fuck off, sorry for dropping the F-bomb,
okay.
But if they tell me that, I'm gonna make their life a living hell.
So what if they don't tell you to fuck off, but what if instead they tell you, why don't you take permanent fifth for a month and we'll talk after a month?
But that's not what Finn's saying. Finn's saying you're just out of luck. You have no chance.
No, I said you can join and be top 20. We won't bother you in the top 20.
But what if they want to go eventually top 10? You're like, no, we've earned it more.
We have 11 people in the rotation for the last year and a half. Sorry, you're out of luck. We've been working at it for a year and a half.
Doesn't mean that they haven't been working at it. They're just been behind
it. Does.
No,
if
it
you
doesn't.
have been on the same shard as me since the beginning of the game, because the shard was created when we all hit it. So I'm not facing somebody that just started a month ago. I'm facing somebody that started this game around the same time as I did. If they did not put in the effort to get into the top of the ranks, sorry, we'll be happy to bring you into the top 20. We'll let you stay there. But we've worked our ass to stay in the top 10. We've had a rotation. You've suddenly come in out of nowhere after a year and a half. If you want to try and fight us for it, go for it. It's not going to be pleasant for you. We're trying to be nice. We can stay in the top 20 because our top 10 is full.
I don't think just because you've had it for a long time that you should just have the right to tell somebody else. Sorry.
It's not just because it's been a long time. It's because our payout is crowded. We have other payouts where there's only 3 people and they're fine.
People pop in, we're like, okay, yeah, we'll rotate you in.
No,
I'm not rotating in 20 people. Do you know how annoying that is?
If you've got a rotation that puts somebody in rotation at spot 11, they may
That's just crap. You don't rotate into that low. That's just stupid.
I'm just saying though that if you have an 11 person, let's say you have a Central European time zone heavy shard where you have 11 people in the top ranks that all live, in Sweden and Greece and France, right? So they all have the same payout. Well, at some point, if you got 5 or 6 or 8 or 11 dudes that all are pushing for that payout, when that 12th dude shows up and says he wants to get rank 1, those other 11 guys are going to say no.
But what if he says, I just want to be a part of the rotation? He's not asking to be one every day. He just wants to be a part of the rotation.
Part of the rotation. And so for them...
So what's their... So they're just shit out of luck the rest of their life playing the game? They just can never be a part of it?
They didn't try for the last year and a half.
They didn't try.
You don't know that. You're
they weren't in the top. We know everybody.
Just because you guys got there faster and did it quicker or spent more money.
Sorry, a year and a half is not faster, Ranger.
No, not even a year and a half.
Some people get ahead and they stay ahead. Some people try to catch up.
2.5. You know what? If they're low energy people and for 2.5 years, and they magically happened to come up with a meta that works.
Yes, they finally were able to catch up. God forbid that they actually have a chance. But no,
well,
fuck them.
So here's the deal: if they're more than nobody is stopping them from going lone wolf and trying to take rank 1 by themselves and lock themselves into rotation. This is not a participation prize. Just because you found 2 people doesn't mean all of a sudden you get to get up at the top. You have to be consistent. You have to be a problem. And you know what? We are working cooperatively. And if you don't want to work cooperatively whenever you come into the group, I mean, look, what you're saying is that the new guy that gets hired doesn't have to make fucking coffee for a year.
That's not what I'm saying. You're saying that he didn't bust his ass to get there. You don't know what he did to get to that point. You're just assuming that he showed up out of the blue. He's been playing the game just as long. Just because you guys got ahead of the curve.
There are people that are hitting into our top 20 at Eastern. Wait, 1 second. There are people on our server, right, on our arena shard that are now getting into the top 20 because they got Jedi Training Ray. And they have a total total roster GP of 2.2 million. The majority of ours, and I'm free to play, the majority of ours are all 2.8 or higher. If they are 600,000 or lower, that means they did not bust their ass. Sorry. That means they did not bust their ass in order to make improvements because they are not on par with the top of our arena show. It's just the way it is.
Okay, so here's a great
I'm not going to argue with this. If you guys want to be that way,
I'm going to argue it one more time because I think it's fun. So here's the other part that Ragers say. Ragers like saying, "Oh, hey, by the way, congratulations. We're super excited that you got hired on with ExxonMobil. By the way, every 11th day you get to be CEO."
That's not what I'm saying. That's an awful example, and that is not what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's because it's okay.
That is not what I'm saying.
Ranger, we still love you even though you're a socialist and a communist.
That's
okay.
First of all, it's not about being a socialist and being a communist. It's just about what's fair and what's right. Okay, so I'm sorry. I mean, I don't care what their GP is. If someone, whether they're 600,000 or a million behind, doesn't matter. I'm in groups or Krakens that are like, they're 600,000 ahead of me. You know, that has nothing to do with it. It doesn't mean I didn't bust my ass. They just bust their ass more, spent more. You know, I mean, those are the kind of people I'm in my squad arena for. That should diminish what I've done in the game because they're at 3.6 and I'm at 3.
I mean, but you've also been in communication. You've also been in communication with them a long time. And how many people rotate through your payout?
Oh God, it's a lot. Look,
14, 25.
I think it's 10 right now.
But you have 10 people in the East Coast payout.
Oh, we have a buttload in the East Coast payout, but a lot of them we're lucky in the sense that I think a lot of those guys, and I'm lucky in my shard that they're like, maybe I'll get top 10 today or top 20. But if they asked and said, "Hey, I would like to become part of the top 5 rotation," then we'd be more than glad. We've had that happen. Now people have come and gone. We've had it to where it's been higher, sometimes it's been lower. People quit the game, so it changes. Right, people quit the game, new people show up. It's just part of the evolution of the game, right? There's a lot of Krakens that have just stopped playing, and
so every arena is different, man. I'm dealing with the same guys I've dealt with for probably a year and a half, 2 years, and nobody comes in and nobody goes out.
But if a new person gets their arena team with the mods and has gear 12, what's the problem? They did something.
The problem is that you're looking for some level of consistency, right?
But here's the thing, though. Would you rather a guy come in and ask you to become part of the rotation and work with you guys, or would you rather them just to steamroll all of your top 10 teams and get number 1 every day and never contact you?
I'm okay either way.
Oh.
We get snipers. We have snipers all the time, right? I mean, if you're gonna do a rotation payout, you better be willing to protect yourself. That's why you work in a group, right?
But it's not working in the group. If the group mindset is that we are the group and nobody is allowed in, no matter what the circumstances.
I'm just saying that's
not the circumstance.
You're saying top 10 is off limits, Finn.
So there's two different things, right? So right now we have too many people in order to increase the size of a top 10 rotation. Once you start rotating into the top 20, a rotation becomes stupid. You have at least a 2-week cycle before you ever get back to rank 1, and the whole system becomes completely retarded. Not to mention the fact that ours is already to the point where we're pretty much filled up and we have a very large payout. So that's why we say when you come in, you can stay top 20. Now, that isn't to say we've done this before, and we actually had somebody who stayed with us a long time for top 20, and we brought him into the top 10 rotation because he was consistent. But we also don't want to bring in somebody that's not going to at least realize that we've worked harder. And I explain this because usually somebody PMs me.
You have to earn your
joining the Discord. And I tell them, we've been doing this for a year and a half, so we have our rotation, and the Eastern time zone is very crowded. So if you are okay with it, that's not to say you won't get into the top 10 later on, but for now, you'll have to just stick in the top 20. We can help you get it to your rank if you need. We will avoid you during your climbs. These are the list of people at the payout. So you see that we have 10 people, actually 12 people at Eastern, and we have about 6 people at Central who are also going to be moving up. So at that time, we'll make sure that we avoid you, and we'll try to move around you if we need to. And then if we ever have a spot, we bring those people up. But right now, our payout has been crowded for the last year and a half. So we're not rotating, none of us, and it's not just me. Our shard has already agreed on it. Our Eastern time zone is too crowded to bring in more people into the rotation.
Yeah, it's closed. It's closed.
So it's closed. Yeah, I mean, you can try and force your way in. It's just not going to make you very happy with anybody on our server. And we have people that have tried to snipe in ours and in other time zones. And I mean, just to be honest, it's not friendly for them. Like, it's not they're labeled, and I'm sure you all have these on everyone's shard at some point, people that are essentially labeled enemies. So if you want to go out of your way to waste crystals instead of just taking rank 20, where you would make more crystals over the long run, then if you want to continually use refreshes, then, I mean, go ahead and try and make your point, but only you're losing out. Because you're going to be trying to face an entire shard versus you just joining them and saving crystals, and instead of just missing out a little bit.
I just think that's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
But it varies on your shard too. Our shard
I don't care what there is variation to shard, but to have that kind of specific policy, I'm sorry. I think it's wrong.
Our payout is too crowded. It's not our fault.
I don't care.
They set us up in a shard. We have like 15, 20 people, and I've seen.
It's not the player's fault. That's CG for creating the system.
That's my point. That's the problem is the system. We are too crowded in payouts on certain servers.
If you throw people in based on when they start, you're going to end up with some statistical anomaly shards. That you're going to end up with a shard where there's nobody in a certain payout, and then another shard where there's 12 or 14 or 20 people that stay competitive for a long time. I mean, there are some ship shards where people are all the way down in the hundreds every day, and it's like 3 refreshes to get up to rank 1.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we talked about it with King Felix, right? I mean, there are some crazy shards sometimes based on what happens. And I got to tell you, honestly, I don't give a rip. Let the people decide, as long as the group has made a decision and they all have agreed on it. But it's fine, whatever their decision is.
If the group is a certain amount of people in the group, and then more people want to join the group, and your answer is this is your only option, I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. But you
have 2 options. You could either become a sniper, or you can slowly work your way into the group. Those are your 2 options.
And the one thing I want to clarify,
it's like any other group, man. In with human interactions, you cannot jump in a brand new group and expect to take the top prize the first day you come in, or to get an even.
But
share
they're not.
So Ranger, in Arena, the top 10 positions are coveted position because you get more crystals.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
The whole point of this game.
If no one could ever get him, then how are they ever going to get even
people?
We didn't say never ever, Ranger.
I didn't say never ever, but they have to start off in the top 20. The rest of us have been working and busting our ass for the last 2.5 years. You're not guaranteed the top 10 rotation just because you suddenly have one group that makes it.
Sorry.
We fought through different metas over every single course and managed to stay in the top 10 during our payouts. We've been doing this now for 2 years. I'm not saying never ever, but all of a sudden you get one squad and you think you should be in the top 10 rotation.
I mean,
after we've been working through different metas over the last 2 years.
What they haven't? You don't know that. You're assuming
they have not, because we know
you don't know that. Man, you're talking on your ass.
Ranger, you have all kinds of different accommodations you make for people. We have one guy who works nights as an EMT, and he's like, guys, sometimes I can make it and sometimes I can't. And so we're like, great, since you sometimes can make it and you sometimes can't, we're going to give you this position. Are you cool with that? And he's like, great. And we actually tried to start a rotation with him, but he missed the days. And so he and the group decided together, why don't we bring you back to that position? And you're permanently that position, and we always leave that position open for you.
But
and he's like,
that's working with somebody. See, you spoke to the guy. The guy says this. You both came to a mutual understanding. But if someone says, "Hey, I have as much right to be in the top 10 as anybody else,"
then I would tell him, "Good luck."
Yep.
Okay.
You have as much right as you can fight on your phone for.
Okay. I think that's horseshit. So, but we're not going to sit here and go back and forth on this all day. Oh Lord! And we missed about 9,000 questions.
And we went from 12 viewers to 6 viewers.
No, it actually went up.
What's crazy is this is such a fundamental part of the game, and normally the 3 of us don't disagree this bad.
Well, I think we can agree on one thing. That the system on which they set up the shards has really been messed up. That there are some payouts that are way too crowded. There's other ones that are way undercrowded, and it does cause problems with people trying to get into payouts.
the other thing too is like for that guy who's an EMT, you know, he's always not busy at 11 o'clock, you know, at noon, right? Or like, you know, or like 1 o'clock.
Right.
That's a middle of the Atlantic Ocean payout. I mean, the guy's an EMT and he just wants to play the game. Why can't we just switch his payout to like the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when he wakes up?
I mean, to me, it should be up to a player to pick their time zone that works best for them, right?
And
that's a great example of.
Yeah, I mean, we have some guys that are real night owls. We have a guy on the Pacific Coast that would much rather have like whatever the time zone right is after the Pacific. He's the only guy in his payout, but he has to put all of his kids to bed, and he's like, I stay up for 3 hours after all the kids go to bed.
I won't disagree with something Nathaniel Morgan said, though, just to point something out here. So he basically said, get God mods and start sniping, and they'll let you in. I don't think that's necessarily wrong, to be honest. We've seen some of the people that have been coming in, and they all of a sudden, because especially after the Jedi Training Ray event came the second time, like they got a Jedi Training Ray team and they're coming up, but their mods, like their best speed character has like plus 80 mods or something, and we're like, this is a crap. Like we're trying to get over 100 on like every single character, and somebody's able to beat with 80. It's like no. And if they're starting to get to the point where they're a trouble for us, then yeah, we'll probably put you into the rotation, but not when you're just coming out of nowhere. Sorry, we've been working too hard for 2.5 years in order to maintain top 10 consistently. And this is a pretty consistent group. Like we've had this pretty much, I think we had a couple of people drop recently, but for the most part, we've had a really consistent group over the last 2 years trying to keep up with the meta, all the different changes. I went back and actually saw a video where I was at rank 8 with a Qui-Gon. I think I've shown this screenshot. A Qui-Gon Jinn team with a Rey Scavenger and a Royal Guard and something or other. Like it was a really stupid meta from back in the day, but we've been competing for a really long time. So one set of characters isn't enough for you to make it so we can say, yeah, you're worthy of a top 10. And you can say that it's elitist, which is fine. Work your way into the top 10 and make us put you in there if that's what you want to do.
Me seeing you one day out of 700 in the top 20 does not mean you get rotation in arena. Especially if I see you one day and then I don't ever see you again for another 300 days in the top 50. Like, sorry, you don't get into rotation because one day you made it to the top 20.
We got a donation.
I'm not.
Listmeister, noobs are not on our server. Our server is from people that started in November. So anybody that thinks they're a noob on our
November
arena
of 2016. You got to remember
15.
These are very old players.
Yeah, every server is based on the 10,000 people that got to the arena rank at the same time as you. So it's not noobs that are breaking in. I'm not going to get somebody that just started the game coming onto Arena Shard. These are all people that started at the game at the same time as I did. So they neglected the game and now all of a sudden picked it up. That's not a noob. That just means that they were way too casual compared to the people that are at the top who've tried to remain there. So it's not a noob thing.
Hey Ranger,
clarify.
I forgot to do my laundry last week. Can I wear your clothes to school?
Again, that's a horrible analysis. That doesn't even make sense. That's just a poor analysis.
Ranger, I forgot to do my laundry, so I'm going to wear my clothes. I'm going to wear your clothes to school.
I'm a crusty old bastard that's been doing the same job for 30 years. I'm not going to let any new guy come.
I deserve it.
Yeah. You deserve it.
It's my right to take rank 1.
That's just wrong.
It's my right. Hashtag.
It's not a right. It's just it's not your right either to dominate the damn thing.
Then make us put you in the rotation.
Yeah, why work with someone you can just fuck them over? You know, I'm done.
You realize? So here's the thing.
No, there's no realize. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
We offer you top 20, right? You have to do your own analysis on how many crystals it's going to cost you in order to push into the top 10, to make us notice you and put you in the rotation. Do you think you can do it long enough? Most people break into the top 20 hoping that they're going to get into the top 10 in some easy rotation and get in there. I've seen it happen. We tried it before when we were a shorter group, when we were about like 8 people and we brought in like 9 and 10. We had people come in that basically were like, oh, can I get in top 10 rotation? We're like, yeah, we're at 8 people. That's fine. We can bring you in. We still have some room in the top 10. We brought them in. They needed help pretty much freaking every single day.
Yeah. Hey, can you move mods so I can get in position?
Listen.
Yes. We've had people ask, "Can you move your
that's
box
a
in order
different
for us to
thing.
do
If someone comes
Can you put
in,
in a 3-man
listen, if
team?
someone's
No, it's
busting
not
their, hold
separate
on.
because now we're not breaking our top 10 rotation
Hold
for
on.
somebody that's coming in new that hasn't proven themselves. Stay in the top 20 and prove that you can actually stay there. Then we'll put you in the rotation, but we don't tell you that off the bat because we want to see what you're going to do. Are you going to be the type that snipes and make us appreciate you? Are you going to be the one that cooperates and shows that you're going to be able to stay with us in the top 20? Because we've had people do that and actually drop because they can't maintain top 20 against other people on our chart.
Listen, that's a whole other thing. If someone wants to get in the top 10, they have to, I agree, they have to, if they want to be part of the rotation and increase the rotation, they have to earn it, right? But if they're not going to do it, then, yeah, they can't stay there. But if they commit to it, say, give me a chance, they should have a chance. And if they earn
Your
it,
chance is to stay in the top 20 and then show that you can do it consistently.
Okay.
We've done it consistently for 2.5 years. How long have you done it?
You don't know what they went through to get to that point, Finn.
Doesn't matter. The question is very
simple. It does
simple.
matter. They've been busting their ass. They've been trying to farm mods. They've been trying to get the
If
characters.
you've been doing that for 2.5 years and you've only shown progress now, sorry, you have not taken this game seriously as we have.
Oh, that's not true, Finn.
How? How is it not true?
What if someone's been focusing on other things? They've got a great roster. They've been doing, I'm in a guild. I'm going to focus on these characters for raids and do this. I could probably help the guild if I did better in Arena. Let me go back and focus on that. Let me get some really good mods. Let's focus on a team.
This is 2.5 years. Sorry,
But
that
no,
argument doesn't
but you're
hold up.
assuming you don't know the story, and you're just cutting them out.
It's 2.5 years. I know the time frame.
That's,
I know they
that's
haven't
bullshit.
been in the top 50.
You don't know.
How do I not know? My arena shard started in January 2016.
You don't know their circumstances. You didn't even talk to the person.
I don't. These are the points. They haven't been in the top 50 over the last 2.5 years. They started the arena shard at the same time I did. Now they are suddenly into the top 20. They want a spot.
God forbid they decide that I want to try.
I have a question. What's the opposite of brunch? What do you call it whenever it's between lunch and dinner? Dinner? You call it dinner?
Second breakfast? I don't know.
I'm going to call it dinner. So basically, welcome to the RSG dinner stream that happens between lunch and dinner because we've gone over by 20 minutes. So just thought I'd bring that up.
Well, it's a very sensitive topic what we're talking about,
Yeah, no, it's just like my nipples. It's really sensitive.
The unfortunate truth. And this is what
I
happened.
did not want to know that, Grande.
Here's the unfortunate truth. Okay.
Oh,
so
Lord,
this
that's
is part of the game.
Grande, you're a bad man.
This is all a game, right? But
have you ever heard the term beating a dead horse? Have you ever heard that term before?
Yeah.
I tried to end it 10 minutes ago.
Do you know what it means?
Yes.
What does that mean? What does beating a dead horse mean, Finity? I don't know what that means.
Yes, you did.
It means that you're an animal abuser.
Oh, okay, good. I was just checking. But does an animal have to be alive for you to beat them? For you to be an animal?
Well, the quote itself is a dead horse. So.
Oh,
that's a.
Okay, so I'm just checking.
Oh,
I think we have all turned in, and we are all beating a dead horse so that we can have something to eat for dinner. Okay, so are we all eating horse for dinner? That's what I'm wondering.
No, what the hell is wrong?
What the hell are you talking about? Are you
Thank you.
Are you sniffing glue again, Grande?
No, I'm not. Not even close.
Prison's changed you. I mean, it really has.
No, actually, I'm in a mafia group that's closed.
Oh.
And there goes that beating of the dead horse.
There we go.
We got a donation 20 minutes ago.
Who was it from?
I saw it was for Vigilant Sentinel. He said, what was it, Money Fight or something?
Yep.
You know what? After listening to the WrestleMania stuff last night and then listening to this, I think this was better than WrestleMania.
Yeah, Finn, you said that you were kind of disappointed in some of the matches yesterday.
Well,
It was. There were some that weren't as good as I thought they should have been.
We got all excited about effectively $2.25 a day, which is really exciting.
It's true.
We got way over. No, I deserve my $2.25.
That's not what it is, Grande. You're again talking straight out your ass.
No, No, he's not wrong, actually. I can even see that point. If you convert the crystals into how much it costs, that's literally what we're fighting for over a day.
$2.35. Hey, that 350, give that to that Loch Ness monster. God damn it, woman, I told you not to give that 350 to the Loch Ness monster. Well, you get it around.
Yeah, you made me do a 50 crystal refresh to lock you. I can't.
And I'm like, I think he's worth 12 cents as a friend.
You get 350.
I had to refresh.
Every
to
woman,
lock
quit
you.
giving her 350.
You bastard! You weren't here, and I had to lock myself. And it was 50 crystals.
Shut up, woman. Nobody likes you.
It was 12 cents.
All right.
I don't think you should be on versus my 12 cents.
All right, so I think we've. Oh Lord, we're way over.
I think I just mentioned that. That's why I started calling it the Linner stream.
The what?
The Linner, lunch and dinner.
Oh yeah.
That's why I asked you the question. Of
I
what
thought you
the
called me
opposite
Leonard.
from-
I'm like, I'm not in the Big Bang Theory. What are you talking about? We didn't get to any of the questions. Crap.
Let's do one more question and then wrap it up.
Let's do what?
Pick a question sanely.
Yeah, pick a question, Sam. Let's do one
What?
more.
Just pick one, and we'll answer that. Hopefully, not a controversial one.
Yeah, there were lots of comments and questions regarding, like, directed towards Grande and myself about our arena chart. So none of those, because that's just going to start the conversation again.
Sean Harriman. Next Zeta, BB-8 roll with the punches. Vader unique. Nihilus, Scion, General Veers, or Stark. He already has Pelp lead, Thrawn unique, OG Han, double R2, double CLS unique, double Wampa, Kylo, and Finn lead.
You know, I
didn't
did
hear
not
JTR.
hear. Yeah, I did not hear JTR. So that kind of
Yeah.
nullifies BB-8 right off the back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say it depends, right? It depends on, are his troopers ready to go where he can do Veers? If he doesn't have a 7-star JTR, why are we even talking about BB-8? I also didn't hear CLS in there at all.
No, I didn't either.
I would definitely say that we might. Did you hear double R2 either?
Yeah, he's got double R2 and double CLS unique.
Oh, okay, he does have those. Okay, so that's good.
So then,
Dark Side. Who's he?
Scion matters if he's got him at gear 11 or better and 3-star or better.
I would still be careful on using a Zeta on a 3-star character because you're only really using him in territory wars and like arena, but you can't use him in the raid. You can't use him in territory battles beyond like the 3rd phase. It's always dicey to use, at least for me, a Zeta on a non-7-star character because you've already cut his usefulness in the game.
That's why I haven't done anything with Talzin yet, because even though I'm about to have a 5-star, it's like, I'll wait till I get 7 stars on her.
I will tell you that I did Zeta Mother Talzin at 6-star. So
I can see that.
I wouldn't quite say 7-star to Zeta, but I would have a real hard time Zetaing a non-6-star. By the way, if you guys had bought all of the refreshes on Mother Talzin, you would now have a 7-star Mother Talzin.
I Zeta Mother Talzin's unique at 3 stars.
Right, and you have a 7.
It works.
But
it's
by
worth
the way,
it.
The Mother Talzin events have now come around enough to where if you had bought all of the pack, if you had just bought the refreshes on her event, you would now have a 7-star Mother Talzin. And if you bought the $10 pack in the beginning. Just FYI.
So who should we recommend he gets then?
What were the choices again besides BB-8?
Veers.
Veers is a good one.
Yeah. Veers, Stark, Nihilus, Scion, and Vader unique.
Not Vader unique.
No,
Not
I
Vader
would go
unique.
Veers. Veers makes that trooper team rock and roll.
Yeah. Veers would be really great if he's 7-star and he's got his troopers at least up to gear 9. That would make sense.
I would base that on whether or not he's able to beat the IPD mission too. If he's able to beat it without the Veers Zeta, I may go Nihilus lead if he's running Emperor or Nihilus unique.
The only thing
if
with
he's
that
running
is that
Emperor Palpatine.
here's the only reason why to do Stark and Veers is because you're probably going to need Stark and Veers Zetas in order to beat the day 6 of the Dark Side mission.
Yeah, and it just helps.
You don't need Stark's one for that.
Veers
you can do it with just Veers.
But it just that Zeta goes a long way, not just with territory battles, but you can use them in territory wars. You got the raid. It just really ups it a notch with that team. Zeta, when I Zeta Veers, it's been nothing but good things since I did. So I'm more than happy because before, you can beat those missions with the trooper team, but it's hell of a lot harder. And I tell you, it makes a big difference with what that offers. So that's a possibility.
We'd like to thank all of our viewers for watching the RSG Linner stream. It's not Linner.
I would just like to point out that Grande came up with that term. No one else on the panel even is acknowledged.
Lunch plus dinner.
We're still in the brunch phase of the afternoon because even though it's 1:26 here,
it's either Linner or it's Lupper.
No, we're squarely in lunch right now. It's not even 2.
It's afternoon tea. It's afternoon tea time.
Tea and crumpets. Is it tea and crumpets time?
By the way, I'm just gonna mention this really quick. This is why I like our channel. We don't always agree on things. I know you guys don't always agree with what one of us says, but that's why we like to do things the way we do things at RSG. We all come with our own opinions. Sometimes they match, sometimes they don't. We like you guys to hear it. You guys will hear different sides. You can agree or disagree with whoever you want. But part of this is that it is a game. We all do things a little bit differently, especially when there's so many different group dynamics, whether it's your guild, your arena shard, so many different group dynamics that play into this. And this is why Galaxy of Heroes is a great community. Arena kind of forces you into little things here and there because you're kind of stuck with the group. But your guild will allow you to kind of find people that you mix with. You find communities that you can agree and disagree with. So that's why we like to do things the way we do here with RSG. So whether you disagree with Grande and I.
What's really interesting about this particular one is that normally whenever we get into a big disagreement, Finity and I are on opposite sides, and this time we're not. So,
yeah, I know. I know. For once, it's like you and me against Ranger.
I know, it never happens like that, man.
And Loki didn't say a goddamn thing.
Loki sat out and didn't do anything.
Loki was just sitting there watching.
Loki fireworks. Left the chat. He's like, "Screw this, I'm out."
Loki's watching fireworks. He's like, "Let me just watch."
And Loki popped some popcorn and drove out the side somewhere. Was like,
he's not feeling well, guys. That's probably why.
I know. Yeah, we wish you the.
And he was at work, so yeah. Probably having a bunch of people yelling in his ear didn't help very much.
You're sick. Shut up. Suck it up. All right, so we're gonna end the stream there, guys. Glad to have everybody here. So let's see. We do the lunch stream every day from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. You can check us out Monday through Friday. Wednesday, of course, is always our stream where we stream from 8 to whenever we get done. Depends on the 8,000 questions we try to get through at the end of the stream now. Saturday mornings is Jedi Academy from 10 a.m. to usually about 12 p.m. Eastern. We get done about that time. Usually about 30 questions that we get to, but we have a great panel of awesome people like Warrior and Remon and whoever else comes on by for that. And then RSG Mature, we have fun on Saturday nights, just hanging out with you great folks and just having fun. And then during the week too, we like to do other streams. I've been doing a lot of Battlefront. You can check that out as well. And then we did the WrestleMania Battlefront 2 thing yesterday. If you're listening to this afterwards, you can listen to us. You can go back and watch us on YouTube. They've got the function to go back and follow the chat and everything, so that's really cool. Or if you just want to download it and listen to off iTunes, you can. And you can listen to us as a podcast. Make sure you subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Support all these channels. Shout out to, make sure you guys check out Mad Dad. They put out another video. Xylo, what do you think you got coming out, buddy?
Yeah, me and Grande are gonna do the Crouching Rancor versus Grande series. Just trying to find some time for it. Had a pretty busy week with my son and some personal stuff too, so I don't want to get all into that. But look forward to that soon. Come subscribe to my channel, Xylo Takedown, SWGOH, and good luck on your territory battles this week, everybody. And thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Anybody else anything they want to pimp?
Not really.
Okay.
Our RSG not arguing anymore.
Oh, stop it.
Stop it, guys. Mommy and Daddy are arguing.
Don't worry, after the stream's over, I'll
punch
RSG
Grande
on
RSG crime.
RSG on RSG crime. Oh, Lord. So everyone have a great rest of your day. There will be no Battlefront stream tonight. I've got too much homework. We'll hit it hard tomorrow. back with Battlefront. So just a heads up on that. But make sure you come to our Discord. If we had a lot of questions, we didn't get to them. That's what the Discord's for. Come join in. That's what the community's for. It's an awesome community of great folks that will help you with your roster and give you really good advice. There's some really amazing players in there, and that's what it's all about. So on behalf of myself, the French tickler himself, Grande Patron, Dr. Finn Medicine Woman, Grim the Mechanic, Saintly Red, Xylo Takedown, and Sir Loki the I don't know what we're gonna call him. He's a lightsaber builder, but he's got the crud. So Sir Loki the crud carrier today. We hope he gets better soon. Thank you for being here, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.